Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, the Lakers lose 127-119 in Washington, and you got to give credit to the opponent first of all. They had 7 players in double figures. Casey Plea was fantastic with a double double. Corey Kispert was shooting the ball. Denny Advija was shooting the ball, playing well. Doing things they needed just from everybody, all the way up, all the way down. Gafford played great. Um, Smith. So you want to give credit to the opponent first and foremost, for not only playing a great game but for just hosting a great game, good atmosphere. I want to also give a whole lot of credit to Russell Westbrook for playing fantastic. Even though he had 5 turnovers, you still love the fact that he was shooting the ball well, 2 out of 3 3-point shots. Um, just making great plays for others, rebounding the ball very well, picking his spots carefully, making his shots in rhythm, just playing a good floor game, carrying over the momentum from last night. And I thought he played even better tonight, to be honest. I thought he was even better. So I was really pleased with him. Still saw a few mistakes here and there, but I'm telling you, I mean, I just wish we could play every game in this building, because if he shoots like this every night, we're a different team. Um, Wenyen Gabriel would have loved to see him be able to stay out of foul trouble. That's going to be the key for him. He just needs to get better at doing little things like setting screens without fouling, and knowing who to try and who not to. He tried Gafford tonight, got stuffed real bad. So that's the kind of thing that you just can't let discourage you. You know what I mean? He's still a fantastic young player and should have played a lot more minutes tonight. I think the coach kind of got away from him with some of the mistakes that Wenyen was making out there. I think coach kind of overthought it a little bit, sat him, and I think it hurt the team a lot, because we weren't playing Dwight Howard, and they had Kristaps Porzingis out there, who was, as I said in the pregame, trying to reestablish himself as the player he was before he left New York. And this is the type of game that I felt against a lesser defense with size issues could really make him look great, and that's exactly what we saw tonight. Him just in the second half completely shooting over everybody, and you saw the Lakers try a number of things defensively against him, but none of those things made any sense. Uh, just cut and dry. We kept putting players on him like Russell Westbrook and Avery Bradley and Stanley Johnson, players that, quite obviously he's going to shoot over. Now, much of the blame goes to our organization as a whole, our GM, for not rostering another center on this roster. But, tonight's game was just a situation where Frank Vogel just kind of put the wrong players on the floor to match up against the Washington Wizards, and didn't do anything to fix the situation. The team came out with the right attitude. I thought they carried over the momentum from the last game. I thought everybody gave good energy, played fairly well. But I just felt like the coach just did the things that didn't help the team. And I think I'll tell you something else. And this is the truth. This is the God's honest truth. I think the Lakers had a situation yesterday with addition by subtraction. It was 2 players that did not play in yesterday's game, and because of it, our roster got rotated in such a way that made for more defensive rotations and more size just being on the floor. No KCP yesterday and no Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony and KCP, as good as they can be for us, they are really, really tough having on the floor for their own specific reasons. Carmelo Anthony hurts us defensively and tends to foul in ways that don't help the team. In times we really need him not to. And when his shots, not falling, he tends to not rebound the ball as much. It's kind of thing. It's like a rhythm thing, and it's not even about rebounding, more so than just him not necessarily being able to affect the floor if he's not scoring. And sometimes the shots that he takes doesn't help the team, and all of that comes together just to really be a bad situation for us. So what you were seeing a lot tonight was him getting taken advantage of defensively, and it was a real glaring problem that stood out tonight because of the fact that the team played well yesterday without those issues, with Wenyen being on the floor, who's very active defensively. Stanley Johnson, who's always active defensively. Austin Reeves, who's always active defensively. You saw a heavy dose of those players. Avery Bradley. You saw a heavy dose of our better defensive players yesterday. And Dwight was on the floor more so. And as a result, you just saw us do the things that we don't often do because of the fact that we don't often have these players on the floor. Now, tonight, we had those players come back into the rotation. You saw Frank Vogel go back to the things that he does with those players in this rotation, and as a result, we were back to our old bad ways. Quite honestly, he likes putting Carmelo Anthony at the 5. Clearly, Carmelo can't play the 5. He's never been any good at the 5 as a young person, and he's not going to be any good at the 5 now. It's one of those situations where when you do that, you put your team in a situation where they can't defend, and because of it, they lose interest, and you see lack of effort after that. You just didn't see none of that because you didn't have him out there. I mean, these things really matter, and it showed. You see a close, in-depth magnifying glass over the situation. Last night, no Melo, no being exploited defensively. They couldn't take advantage of Winion like that. They couldn't take advantage of the players we had down there. We need to shrink our bench. That's what I've learned. Not necessarily to shrink it so that we're only playing a few players, but we need to make sure that on given nights, depending on the rotation, that'll determine who plays. It should always be that way, but in terms of our roster, since we have such glaring offensive and defensive holes, we gotta really make sense with our rotations. And at this point, it was very obvious that we did not tonight. I thought this was one of the worst games Frank has coached maybe ever. Honestly, you just can't let your mismatches be that glaring to where you have 2 or 3 minutes left on the clock and Russell Westbrook is guarding Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, when he had shot over everyone you had put on him to begin with, and your last resort is to single coverage, have your point guard him. I mean, that's the type of stuff that you don't even get angry at Frank anymore, because he's been doing this all year. You get angry at the front office for not removing him from the situation so that he can't harm us this way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I hate to put it that way, but that's what it was. The team had the momentum. The guys were awake. Russell was playing well. Bron was engaged and had broken a record and had the lead when that record was broken. You got Wenyen Gabriel, who's a young player coming off a career high. You got Austin Reeves, who filled up the box score last night. You got Malik Monk, who's shooting the ball well and playing great tonight, by the way. You got all these different things going on, and you can't get the victory because your coach is not competent enough to put someone on the floor who can actually contest Kristaps Porzingis' shots. He was trying things, but all of those things did not give him any size. And that, you don't double team, you don't put Dwight Howard on the floor, you don't throw Wenyen Gabriel back on the floor. The things that helped you win yesterday were the very things that you got away from. You put Carmelo Anthony back out there to get exploited defensively. You had THT out there, he was 0 for 5, and you didn't give him an opportunity to get back on the floor because you were overcoaching those mistakes, same as Wenyen Gabriel. But in overcoaching those mistakes, you left us without size, so that left us without a chance. Defensively, it was just so much bad from that chair tonight. And you just look up and down the box score and you say, guys played well. I don't think you're going to find a better Russell Westbrook game. You're not. And I got to, take some credit to say, guys got to not turn the ball over just the same. Russell did have 5 turnovers. Bron had several key turnovers that ended up killing our 8 or 9 point lead when he came back into the game at the third quarter, I think it was. Key stuff that didn't help us. You would like to have some of those shots back that we took that were not in rhythm. I saw some shots that Melo took, obviously 0 for 5 for THT. You just want to get some of those possessions back. Some of the 3-point shots that we took, even though Bron's 3 was falling great tonight, you just want to see us take possessions more seriously, especially when you have a lead against a team that is undermanned. No Kuzma tonight, you guys. They didn't even have one of their best players out there, and we weren't able to take advantage of the fact that we had a 16-point lead. The first lead at halftime that we've had in a month, and couldn't seal the deal, not because of effort. And we won the rebounding total. It wasn't even that. It was just simply because we just were not smart enough to throw someone at Porzingis that he couldn't look over, completely look over. And that's why I said, it's up to GM as well. We should have been had Moses Brown on this team. If we had Moses Brown on this team, that none of that goes down. If you had Willie Cauley-Stein on this team, that looks differently. If you would have kept someone at that center position, all of these mistakes that we've seen all season long look different. And if you look at that first half of yesterday's game where we had Winion and Dwight down there together with LeBron James, you'll see what I'm talking about. Those are the type of things. You see some of the same issues that our guards had in those moments, but those guys were getting offensive rebounds. Those guys were cleaning those situations up. So it didn't harm the team. A missed Russell Westbrook layup shouldn't turn into a transition bucket for the other team. It should turn into an offensive rebound for us and a tip in or something like that. These are the difference between having a center on the floor and not. You left LeBron James out there to get humiliated by Porzingis. Westbrook to get humiliated by Porzingis. You gave everybody a turn at getting humiliated by Porzingis, except for the people who could actually guard him. Dwight Howard and Winion Gabriel. I mean, these are the type of things that I'm just saying, you know what? I'm not even mad at Coach Vogel. You ain't gonna get mad at the entity for being what it is. Once someone tells you who they are, they show you who they are, you get some time with them, you know who they are who they are. Now it's about you managing them properly. So that's what it is. We didn't fire him and we're hurting because of it, period. The team played well. The other team played well. It was a lot of good basketball played on that floor tonight. Guys played their heart out on both sides. You got to give credit to Washington for coming back. But they shouldn't have had the opportunity to. Kristaps Porzingis should not have had as many easy opportunities to shoot the ball over guys that he had tonight. And you can blame Frank and you're going to blame the Laker organization because they should have had a center out there. Ain't no way around that. And that's all that went wrong. That's it. And that's what's frustrating. I'd love to say, oh, this guy didn't play that. Yeah, THT didn't play well. Yeah, we could have saw some things. Turnovers could have been down. Obviously, you give credit to Washington for turning the ball over only 8 times. 2 hour 15. That hurt. But it just came down to Porzingis repeatedly getting shots up over guys that were who could basically come up to his chest maybe get up to his neck with their head. That's about as far as the height goes there. It was embarrassing. It was deflating for a team with a lot of good momentum and good individual performances. Guys who are fighting for not only a playoff opportunity, but just to keep good chemistry amongst one another. And to look over at their coach and just see him just pour paint all over it. All over the momentum, all over everything that we've built over the last 24 hours. He just poured his paint all over it. And it's been like that all season with small ball. That's what it's been. Just drinking out of a ladle, man. We can't never get nothing for our effort because of this guy. And that's what it is. I'm blaming him. I am. I'm blaming him and I'm blaming the GM. They both get credit. I give it 50-50. You're going to give Rob a lot of the blame tonight for just not having a roster available for Frank to sit. Do you understand what I'm saying? It ain't like we trust Frank going to play him anyway. But that's what it was, man. Lakers lose. Game ball. I'm going to throw the game ball at Russell Westbrook, even though he's on the losing side. I would have given it to KCP. He played great, but Russell's just doing so much to change the attitude around there from his play standpoint, instilling confidence in all of us for him. So I appreciate that. Lakers did lose, but not for lack of effort. BDF 44. I thank you all for watching.